Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Women's Longevity Summit. So happy to have you back again because we have such cool speakers on here. This one, she's special and she's talking about a very special topic. Elke from Canada. Hi, Elke. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
Yeah, what's cool about Elka, what attracted me to her information is she's not only a psychotherapist, author, international speaker, but the books that she's written, catch this. One is called Loving Your Life, and the other one, she's going to pull it up. And the other one is Anxiety Warrior. But here's the tag that caught me. She's going to hold them up. There they are. Awesome. Energy Rich Vitality Specialist. Who doesn't want Elka on the show? We need more energy vitality. We want to feel good about ourselves as we're in the season of our life. Elka is going to give us some awesome tips and experience of what it takes to have that energy and vitality as we're aging. So, Elka, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you got into it.
Well, one of the things that attracted me to you was the longevity, and I live it. And one of the things is about energy. And I think what happened, I mean, it's always a process. There's not just one kind of event, though I was sick quite a few years ago, and I watched a webinar, and one of the most important things that they talked about was energy. And as soon as that landed, I got better, just like that.
Wow.
And and then I kind of looked back a few months prior and how I was feeling burnout, and it's not so obvious. So the way my mind works is, okay, what is it? What's going on here? How did that happen? What are these intricate pieces? And a lot of times we blame a relationship, or we blame a job, and it's not always that. It's sometimes a whole bunch of small pieces. And energy and trusting your body to me is number one. And it's all encompassing. And you and I spoke a little bit about that it's very holistic. So it's listening to your emotional energy, your brain energy, your mental energy, your heart energy, your physical energy. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
and as a psychotherapist, there's so much to unpack. I have so many questions that women are struggling with. They've lost their sense of purpose, they're burned out, and I'm sure you've seen thousands and thousands of cases like that. So let's unpack a little bit. So first off, why aren't women thriving at this season of their life? What's the issue there? Is there a blockage going on? Is it the way the world is looking at us? Talk to us. Why is the thriving not just bounding in our lives right now?
For me, what I've seen is that as women, and the way I was brought up, and I think a lot of my female clients, we were brought up to serve. And a part of that is our reptilian brain, is that we are the nurturers, and we are the gatherers. So what's happened though is that's gone sideways so much that we stop listening to what our needs are. We stop listening to our bodies. And sometimes it sounds simple, though some people, some women, they won't go to the bathroom all day because they've got to do something else. And they actually call it a nurse's bladder. I don't know if you've heard of that, but women will do that, or they won't eat all day because there's something else they think they need to do, or they think they should do. And so what happens, it slowly starts eroding us to a point where we're just exhausted, we're depressed, we feel like we've lost our passion, which isn't true. So we can talk a little bit about that. But we need to find it again, and we need to listen to our bodies. And I'm so all about that.
Yeah, for sure. And women can find it, obviously, because you've been doing this for a long time and helping women and men. I know you do both, but we're focused just on the women because that's what this sum is all about. What's the deal with then? What would be your first steps in, because we want to make it practical always for the women, is like what can they do to start finding their way on the season of their life to thrive and wake up feeling like, hey, I got the energy, I'm excited because you certainly are doing that. Your life, you're like full of energy, you're doing what you want. But well, let's talk about that. How did you get from the way you were raised, which we all had the same issues in that, we weren't putting ourselves
Yeah.
first. How did you go from figuring it out for yourself and then helping other clients? And of course, then we want you to spill the tea on what's the tips on how to do that.
In my 20s, one of my friends, she said to me, "You're boring." And
Okay.
I was taken aback, of course. And she just said, "You're tired all the time." So this was in my 20s, and
Wow.
I've been a business owner since I've been in my 20s. And she said, "You're not fun." And she used the word selfish, which of course I had a reaction to.
Sure.
She said, "You need to be more selfish." And though this is what really impacted me, she said, if you're running at 20%, how can you give 40% or 100%? She said, you need to be 100% to give 100%.
So wait, you mean like, so you're running on 20%, you mean as far as your emotional tank?
Any tank, whether it's
Any tank.
physical, emotional, mental, like, yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Like, here's the thing is if we're low, if we're low and
In anything.
unbalanced, then how can we give? And you know what's so
So
interesting
true.
in my life, and I know you're this way too, is that we're service providers. We want to give. And as women, that is our tendency. That's our nature. Our nurture is we want to teach, we want to nurture, we want to give, we want to serve. Well, if we're low in our energy in any level, then how can we serve in a quality way? And that's what really impacted me. And so I started looking at self care, and I changed that word for myself because selfish has this a negative
It
connotation.
does. Yeah, it
And
sounds kind of icky, actually. I
it
don't like
does.
it.
Yeah, I don't
What
either.
woman wants to be called selfish?
Right. So, but however, self-care is different.
Right.
And then the other piece that's different is, looking at my heart. If my heart is full, if my mental capacity is full, if I'm at 100%, then I can give 100%. And
Yeah.
that gives me joy. And of course, you know, is that like sometimes it's a light bulb, sometimes it happens quickly, and other things take a little more work. So that was probably a real pivotal point in changing me looking after me.
I bet it
And
was. And then was there something that you then, so you realized that was your aha moment? Good friend, actually, to tell you that. She was pretty brave. But then what step did you take first to realize, okay, I'm boring, low energy, not much vitality. Then what was your next step to flip that switch?
yeah, so back then, I mean, I'm, pretty naive at that age. And I just started looking at what could I do for myself. So that
Mm.
meant maybe reading other books, looking at other interests. At the time, I had a sign painting business, so I put a lot of focus in that. And there's not really a lot that I could talk about. So I thought, okay, I've got to expand that. So what does that look like? And
Hmm.
then the other piece was my health. At the time, I remember, I mean, her and I would get together and drink wine, and I just went, I couldn't sleep well. I got depressed the next day. And so when I noticed that, I went, okay. So I stopped doing that. And so it was like looking at all these aspects of how can I make myself feel better on
Right.
all levels. So there were all these steps. And the cool part is, as life doesn't always go so even. It's like throw stuff at us. And so throughout that journey is noticing this kind of collapse in energy or this oppression, and then also noticing the rise of energy, when we feel like wow and we want to celebrate. And I'm kind of one of these people, like a detective, is I'm very curious and I go, well, why is that happening? Like, what's going on? Like, nothing changed. Like, I had the same meal. Why do I feel like dancing today? Like, what's going on with me? That feels so good.
It does. You want that all day long, every day.
And you know what? Here's an interesting thing is we can create that. So
Oh,
does
do
life,
tell.
yeah, because life, and I learned this as an artist too, and being creative, people think, oh, I'm not creative today. That's not even true. So we can sit and nurture our creativity. We can sit and nurture our passion. It's all there. It never went away. We're creative. We have it. It's in our bodies. We just need to access it. So that's the discovery journal or journey, not journal, is how do you discover your journey? How do you discover for you that's important that makes you feel that vivive, that yeah, I want to go for it,
Yeah,
right?
then you became a psychotherapist, and obviously you see a lot of women that, they get low energy, they've lost their purpose and motivation, they're burned out. That's the word of the century, it seems. Gosh, every woman I know, including me, has been burnt out on some level. So as you working with the women, do you see patterns of, they're burned out, low energy, and then is there
Right.
the shift to get them to that next point? Like, does it take a lot? Like, I'm hoping you give us a shortcut, Elka. Don't
I
tell us
have
it takes years
shortcuts.
and years and years.
No, you know what the fun part is, and thank you for asking, Judy, because one of the things, this is a gift, and I'm very practical. So when things work, it's like, and that's part of the German and Aries and being firstborn is if I can go from A to Z in 3 seconds, then I'll take that route instead of all over. So what I do, the first thing I do, and I'll give listeners this, is notice your body. And I give my clients, this is their first homework. We do this in the first session. And I ask them just to notice their bodies. That's it. So when they leave the session, they walk out of my office and I just say, just notice. Take a moment. You're going to notice a rise in energy and you're going to notice a drop. And if they don't understand it, we can talk a little about, I call it a yes no exercise. I learned it years ago. It's a beautiful exercise. I didn't make it up, though different practices use it.
Oh, teach us. Yeah, definitely. Because,
Yeah,
I'm sure people are like, what do you mean listen to our body? I mean, as a naturopath, when I tell people listen to your body to know what to eat, like, do you need more protein? Do you need more water? But it's hard because we haven't been listening to our body for so long, right? So that is a process. But if you have a yes, no, please share it.
yeah. And here's the cool thing is that because we're all individuals, this works. So it's not what Elka does. It's
Right.
not what Judy does. This is so to the individual. So that's why I love this exercise. So what we do is I have the client sit. So we would just sit and breathe. And I'm going to just give you the snapshot of it. And we go to a time in our life that we felt celebratory. And it can be anything. So what gratitude, it could be just the sunshine, a flower, it could be a graduation, it could be anything. So we do that meditation and it's nonverbal. You just listen quietly to your body and notice the sensation. And everyone has it. I have people that have come in so depressed, so low, and they say, "Alka, I have nothing." And I go, "No, I'll find something." So sometimes you have a pet, or perhaps it's a grandchild, or it's a niece, or there is something in our life that we just go, and so we look for that, and there is something, and just be in that place for a little bit. Just notice your body. You don't have to tell me about it. You don't have to describe it to anybody. Just notice it. And so we just sit there just for a few minutes and I just ask them, I just say, well, when you have the feeling, just nod your head and they'll nod their head and then we brush it off And then we go to the oppression, the collapse. And as humans and women, we can go there really fast because that's why we got into trouble. So,
Yeah.
and I just always promise them we're not going to stay long. So you go to that place. It could be grief, anger, whatever oppression, whatever drops your energy. You just stay with your body just for a few moments and notice. That's it. Just notice. So, and then once you've been there, you nod your head, yep. We brush it off, do a few breaths, and then we go into again that happier, lighter feeling, whatever that is. And it may not be happy, it may just be a little lighter. It depends where you are in your life. So that's the exercise. So it takes about 15 minutes. I do have a webinar that it has the whole meditation. And then the homework is, and I ask my clients just for the week, just when you drive, when you're in the grocery store, when you think of it, just notice because it's happening all day long. And here's the fun part. I mean, yeah, am I happy, dancy most of the time? My energy, people have said, whoa, like they can feel my light when I walk in a room, which is lovely. Do things always go smoothly? No. However, I do notice it, and I also know that it's going to pass.
Yeah.
So I just, want to tell viewers
It
like
gets
just,
definitely gets easier as you get older. I am a testament of that as well. When things hit, because life is life,
mhm,
and you get like, ugh, you get kind of like, and then you let it
yeah,
go. It's just so much easier now than the 20 and 30-year-olds that we were and didn't know how to handle it, right? So that's a great exercise, just noticing, paying attention to what's going on, both in a positive light and things that are getting to you. So that's a wonderful tip. And those of you guys who are listening and watching, try this out. We're going to show you a link that Elka has for this so you could kind of walk through it a little bit and kind of get a taste of it. But here's the thing that I would like you to unpack. You mentioned it in the very beginning of this interview about burnout. And there is such a big thing with women. Like we are just plain burned out and then we get overwhelmed, right? And then our energy for sure goes down, right? How do we stop that? I look back in my 20s and 30s when I was at the height of my career and I was getting famous on the state, like things were just rolling but then all the issues of being a single mother and the finances and oh my goodness, it was just always feeling burned out and overwhelmed, always. Like I couldn't stop it. Now looking back, I wouldn't even know what to tell people, but I know you do.
well,
What?
and I love that question. I love that you asked me that because that completes. I wanted to say a little more about that exercise
Oh,
because
good.
when people come back, this is so interesting. Is they tell me and they just go, you know what? I've never done that before. And we give it language and so it's like a tank. So, here's the cup of water. So if your cup is empty, of course we're it's going to be hard to replenish. Though when you start noticing your energy, and even though this sounds general, it's all encompassing because you're going to notice it with colors that you wear, with the jewelry you want to pick out, with food at the supermarket, with something that you look at it and you just go, my energy's dropping. It may not make sense, but your body knows. Your body has this incredible innate wisdom. And if we can stop and slow down and just listen, and it comes to whether it's a purchase, whether it's accepting a luncheon invitation. So what happens is all these tentacles that were sucking at our energy, we start nipping them or turning a different direction. And it could be something like buying yourself tulips and having them on your table. And I like to have nice things. And it's like, I don't need many things. Though if I like it, it gives me pleasure. Like it can just be visual pleasure. So what happens, and this is the answer to that question, is, as we're serving and pouring out, when we start doing these things in our life and listening to our body, we're filling this cup again. And so it becomes almost like a fountain that this cup starts to flow. And so do we get tired? Yes, we can still get tired. Well, you and I could spend another hour talking about crazy stories in our life, and yet we bounce back because our cup is full. So that
It makes it so much easier. So so then let's go down, like, is there like a checklist that we could say, okay, check this, check this, check this? Because being in tune to your
yeah,
body is so important and it definitely
right.
helps.
So yeah, I have a really good checklist in Anxiety Warrior about, anxiety and stress, and that's another whole talk. However, one of the freebies that I'm putting in here for the summit is a PDF. It's a weekly checklist, and it's so interesting when you start doing this once a week. I put an alarm on my phone. It takes maybe 10, 15 minutes. You just go through what happened through the week, listen to your body, and it'll be so clear. It'll be yes, no, hell yes, hell no. Or maybe, and if it's a maybe, so here's the interesting thing, because I do teach a course on it. If it's a maybe, all it may be is pausing. So sometimes, life is not so clear and we need that pause. And it may not even be about us. It might just be about what's going on outside of us. And that's okay. It's just to notice it. And I think if I were to say, to keep this simple, is to notice your body. Your body's going to tell you, not me. Your body's going to tell you.
So let's unpack the whole energy thing. There's positive, there's negative energy. We all know that. And we want like 100% energy all the time.
Right.
People will spend thousands on supplements and
Mm,
therapies and all these different things. But it's not just about that, right?
right.
There's ways to really tap into energy. You said about noticing your body
Yep.
and looking and paying attention to that. But are there other ways, are there avenues that we could find that energy so that it lasts us even just a couple hours? Sometimes some women are just like, give me a reprieve of a couple hours with some energy, and I can't use any more coffee. So what
Yeah.
else can I do?
That's a great question. That's a really great question. And what I've learned in this journey, the more it's interesting to me because I always say I'm my own experiment. Like I told my daughter the other day, I said, all this is just an experiment. I don't really know. What I do know, though, is the more that you listen to your body, and yes, do I take supplements because I listen to my body? Though I also listen to something that, not all, I don't need all the supplements, right? So it's listening again to your body. So to get that, what you're talking about, this energy, it sounds maybe like an energy hit or some energy reprieve. We are so resilient. If we can, like one of the things, okay, I'll just say what I do, and then we maybe unpack it, is I
Sure.
have a very strong daily practice that I protect, and I've been doing it for years. It starts out with a meditation, then a gratitude practice, then I do stretches, and I work up that energy. And it takes me a couple hours. And if, the other day they wanted me to cook breakfast for the camp here, my energy dropped. Though I did some prayer around it, I didn't want to do it. But then I went, I'm going to give it a try. And the prayer was, you're going to wake up earlier. So I was up at 4 and I had energy. I, because what's so important is that I'm feeding. And I'm not saying you have to feed it the same way, though, feeding myself with gratitude, with inspiration, with meditation, and then with the exercise, it's like fueling the fire. And this is not an Elka thing. Other people do it that are very passionate, active, and the point of this is we have so much resilience. We our bodies are so incredible. They're so miraculous. Like when we're clear, we can heal over 30,000 ailments. We have the capacity of producing this. Our brains, our hearts are like so incredible. We just need to let them do their jobs. So when you're priming yourself like this, you are then ready. And then life, you know, it's usually a good day, though that reprieve, and this is when we give ourselves, and I know I spend a lot of time on it, it kind of builds. However, I love it so much, I protect it. Even if you start out with 10, 15 minutes, and then you're going to notice you'll have more energy. And that investment, and it is an investment, and it's interesting. I know there's probably a lot of business women in here. And when I talk about it that way, if you invest, you're going to get it multiplied,
Multiple. Yeah.
not just 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. Like, I don't always eat like the most perfect food on the planet.
Right. I think you've said a really important gold nugget that I want everybody to pay attention to. And even when you said it, you put your hand on your heart. Is
Yeah.
that you protect that time for yourself because you value yourself, you value your energy, you value yourself as a human being. And that is the gold nugget. I think as women, I know I certainly had this struggle for many years. It's like, am I really worth that 10 minutes getting up earlier in the morning? And the answer is yes. Yes, for sure. Get up. So you getting up at 4 a.m. on that particular day, and that is important. It was important to you and it really made a difference in your day. And so that
100%.
gold nugget for everybody to understand is protect that time, whether it's first thing in the morning or it's in the afternoon or it's in the evening, is to
Right.
know that you're worth it, you're deserving of it, and that you have to protect it. Protect yourself, ladies. Oh my God, we need to make a t-shirt with a hand on our heart to remind us.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you've said that because and that has been a theme. And here's the thing is, I had a studio in a home at one point, and my family wanted to turn it into they wanted the room, and I said no. That's my space. And so, we need
I love
to,
it.
I love that you said that because that's true. We have to protect it. And I think
Yeah.
that's why, just because my energy dropped about doing the breakfast, I had to step back and I went, why? And you know what it was? The first thing that came in my mind was, I don't want to lose my meditation time.
Ah.
So my body woke up on its own. I did not use an alarm, by the way. I
Mm.
was awake and I went, thank you. And so I took my time. I had this luxurious morning. And then when I showed up for breakfast and the room was warm because we're at a camp and people had a warm breakfast, they were so grateful. And I felt good. I did
Yeah.
not feel depleted. And here's the other cool thing. I did not need a nap. I was not tired. I went to bed at my usual time. So that passion, that self-care, honestly, we can find that energy's in us. Can I just do we have time for a quick example?
Oh, we got loads of time. Just spill the
Okay,
beans, girl. No problem.
okay, okay. So here's a little example to talk about why or where that energy is. So let's say you're burned out. Let's say you're tired, you're exhausted, And in Muskoka, where we live, we have to travel. The sun is coming. You can see it. It's wonderful. Um, in Muskoka, we have to travel 3 hours to an airport. And of course, you have to, for international flights, another 2 hours, so 5 hours. And these flights, usually people have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what's so interesting, and I don't know if people can relate to this, is when you're awake and you will probably use an alarm at that point, you're excited. You've already packed, you're ready to go, and you're ready to go on that trip. Where did that energy come from? And that energy is already in you. It didn't just effervescent because you had a good supper or whatever. Like you can kind of, try and dissect it, but no,
It's in there. And that's the
it's in
cool part.
there.
Knowing that it's in there, we just have to do a little digging to get that out. And to the second part of what you said is so protecting your time, that's very precious. But the other part you said is that you had the Elka system. It was your system of meditating, gratitude, all these different things. But not everybody has that. So working with all these women, do you have other tips of things that they could use? Because like I'm not a meditator. I'm like, listen, I'm going to go out and walk on the beach. That's my meditation. I'm not going to sit on a pillow in the middle of the floor. That is not me. But I'm just wondering, working with all the women that you have, are there other things that you have found that works well to give women
Yeah,
ideas, right? Options of what they could
sure.
do to say, hey, this would be good for me to start my day or to have that time that I could do that is something that they could think about, that it would give them some options.
100%. And I actually talk about that in this book.
Of
So
course you do.
meditation, well, I have a big list in the book, and it's a great question. So, yeah, it's you said walking along the beach. So what happens is our brains, we give ourselves that chance to calm and to become peaceful. And really, that's what meditation is. It's not about not thinking. It's not about sitting on a pillow. And I don't sit on a pillow, just so you know. And walking in the woods. And it's about being mindful. So again, notice where you're mindful and how you do this. And so one of my clients, she said, when I get up, for me, it's my cup of coffee. And I went, okay, so what do you do with your cup of coffee? She said, well, I just sit at the table and I watch my cooking show. And I said, okay, tell me more about that. And she says, my whole world goes away and all I have is my coffee and the cooking show.
So
And
simple.
I
So
know. And,
simple.
and so I
So
said,
even if
okay,
you can't get out because it's winter and you got snow up the yazoo, you could be inside with your coffee. I think the whole process of making coffee and getting it ready and then sitting there, some people journal, some people watch their cooking show. It's just something they could do at home that's relaxing or at the end of the day. I mean, we're saying the morning,
yep.
but this
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be
you
with
can
your tea
pick.
time.
Yeah, I actually do it both times. I do it at night. I do a shorter practice at night, and it doesn't matter what time of day you do it. And so that's brilliant. And yes, it can be simple. And the thing is, it worked for her. So it's got to be right for you. That's my point.
Yeah.
And then you build on that. So I just asked her because practicing gratitude is massive in mental health, in emotional health, in spiritual health. It does really set you up for being happy. So it's grateful people that are happy, not the other way around. So I asked her, so usually, here's the interesting thing. Usually we have a daily practice. All of us do. We do something regularly,
Mhm.
you know? And so you want to add to that. And maybe the one thing you add is think about things you're grateful for. And some people do it at the dinner table. Some people do it with, their families. Um, you might, do it when you walk along the beach. It's that appreciation of, oh my gosh, the air, the sun, the water. Like that's a practice, right? So, and then notice your body when that happens. because you're actually feeding yourself the energy, and you're also um, opening it up because we have it. It's there. And actually, if we want to get scientific, we are water and energy, really.
That's
We
true.
just got, yeah, we just got to expose
100%.
it, right? We
We are
just got,
energy, totally. Yeah. And it's not woo-woo, it's science now. It's been proven. So, as far as with working with your clients, have you seen that once they get in tune with their body and understanding it and seeing their times of high energy, low energy, does it take a lot to move that needle, Elka, or is it pretty quick? Like, give us some hope. Is it like
it's
give
actually
us
very
like an
quick.
idea how long does this really take, this whole
Well,
process?
I've had people, they came back the next week and they just went, my life has changed, just like
Wow.
that. I've done workshops. I've also done this meditation and work with corporations locally, and we would do our check-in like it was a weekly thing because we need that time, right? And there's lots of questions that come up and things. Yeah, in a week, like people were just like they're going, whoa. And it wasn't, it was so, it's been fascinating. I'm trying to say four things at once, but just so fascinating to see the shift. And it's exciting for me. I get so happy when they come back and they're just going, oh my gosh, you have no idea. I never thought I could do this. I didn't know this was in my life. I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I, and you can. So it can be very quick. And it doesn't mean, here's the interesting thing. It doesn't mean you have to turn your life upside down. It's not about that. A lot of times we think that. And it's not. Sometimes it's just these little things, just watching your energy. And then, you may choose, and this is what happens is you might choose to do some of these difficult tasks, which is like looking after an elderly parent, or maybe your job is really hard, or the project is hard, but you might sit there and go, you know what? I'm committed to this. It does take some energy from me. However, I'm going to do it, though I'm going to feed myself over here so I can be like a rocket ship and go through this. And so we can make these choices of it's not always going to be a dance and a great meal. Sometimes it's going to be sludging through a swamp. And yeah,
Does
so
it make a difference how I'm thinking of the women who are going to be like, but you don't understand how burnt out I am. Like I cannot put another thing on my plate. You don't understand the overwhelm of dealing with all the stuff with the parents, the kids, the dog, the partner. Like if someone is like really extremely on that edge, and then of course you got the hormone issues, which are finally coming out in media, and of course we're doing it in the summit, but the hormones play a big role as well. So if people are like really off, they feel like they're ready to fall off the cliff.
yeah.
Is it harder for them to get back on so that they could feel their energy again, or does it not matter?
You know what? That's a great question. I love that question because that's who comes through my doors. They're
Uh,
barely able to come in, and I have people, yeah, where it's very, very difficult. So, listening to your energy, once you can, once you articulate that, that's the hope. So once we do this meditation and you sit there and just go, wow, I can feel it. How is it possible that I can feel it in this burnt out, depressed state? Because it's in us. We already have it. So then that's the hope. And it's not about adding, and I love that you said that. It's not about adding more on your plate. It's actually almost like taking some away. And the other thing, which is interesting, is once you get this kind of tickle, this joy, you want more.
of
So,
course we want more. We
well,
always
then it's
want more
it's
happy,
it's
vital
easy.
energy that Elka has. Of course we do.
Well, that's easy to do. So, and the reason it's easy is all you've got to do is listen to your body.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
make it
you've got
sound
to
so
do.
easy. So, Elka, what they really need to do is there's a few options that they have because I know a lot of women are going to be like, oh, it can't be that easy. Oh, it's not just one step. You know how, because that's how we are. We're like, it cannot be that easy. It cannot be in me. I'm too burnt out for that. I know if you had told me that in my 30s, when I was at the height of working 80 to 100 hours a week, I would not have believed you. Now, of course, looking back, of course I believe you. Now, of course, I know because I've experienced it. But
Right.
let's give the people some resources. So you have your two books that they could get, The Anxiety Warrior and Love is
Loving your life.
Loving Your Life. Yep, both of
Yeah.
those. Those are available. We'll put the links below for everybody. Okay,
Yep.
great. And that has all, is it like are they like workbooks? Are they reading books? Are they just lists? Like what's
They're
involved?
they're actually resource books. So Loving Your Life is, I call it my flagship book. It's in its third edition. It's been translated. It's not an audio because it is like a workbook. However, you don't have to go cover to cover. There's pull quotes in it, there's illustrations, exercises. You can pick and choose.
Oh,
If
cool.
you're good with meditation, but you want some creativity, you can just open it up to that.
Oh,
It's not, it's kind of a back and forth. People have told me, well, it's been published since 2004. They say they have it. It's like an active book, so it ends up on their coffee table or by their bedside, or they end up, using it. Teachers use it, physiotherapists use it. So it's a great resource book, as are the Anxiety Warrior series. Again, they're about resources. Like what happened was, and of course you can read on my website. I have pages that are free, but it talks about my journey and why I produce these. And people were saying they didn't have resources. And
oh,
again, I go into this practical mode of, no, it's not that difficult. It's difficult being in it. That's what I'd like to say. It's
right.
difficult being anxious. I don't like having anxiety. It's difficult having some of these challenges. However, the strategies aren't. And if we can take one step, one small step in that direction, it changes the trajectory. And so this has 5 authors that I've put together, plus myself, and the other one also it's a combination. And so everybody put hundreds of resources in, so you can pick and choose. And
Oh, nice.
and yeah, and my whole premise is we're individuals. So it's not just a one size fits all. It's about, offering a smorgasbord. And if you want dessert, then eat all the dessert. If you just want
I love
potatoes and meat, and just eat
it.
that. Like we're different every day. So
Yeah,
that's kind of the discovery, and that's
like a
how I
little buffet. Yeah, that's
and that's
awesome.
how I produce the books.
I
And
love
like I
that
said,
because that way people could just, like you say, pick and choose what fits
yeah.
them at the moment. Where were you 30 years ago? I wish I knew you then. Oh my goodness, I
I
could have
wish
used
I knew
that.
me then. I
I
always
sure
I
wish.
Yeah, I always said I wish I was my own mother. Um, like my kids they do really well. They thrive and yeah, I mean, I'm thriving now. It took me a little
Yeah,
while, and I have to just trust that it's perfect.
yeah.
And I'm super healthy. I got a long ways to go, and I'm
That's the
just
cool
excited.
part. But wait, you have more, you said you have another resource for a gift for everybody that
Yeah.
is on the summit that they could utilize as well. Tell us a little bit more about that and how it could be used.
Well, one of the things I'd like to give to our viewers or participants is my 10 meditation series based on loving your life and my experience. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we're gonna include a link to that. And that kind of builds on, and that does actually include the yes no exercise as well in one of the meditations. So that's I'm very proud of that and series. And the other thing is the chart. So that kind of goes together. So the chart is a PDF and it's a weekly check-in where you just put yes, no.
Oh,
You
that's the
just write,
yes no chart. There it is. And we get it. Oh my goodness, how exciting.
yeah, yeah. And it
So we
just
get the
explains,
meditation plus the checklist, the yes, no. You got the whole package and the books. Oh my goodness. It's like, there it is. I mean, all those years that you put your wisdom and experience together. Elka, this was gold all the way. And I know that women who are listening and watching are like, thank you. I needed something to like get to my next, because we don't want to live the last season of our life grumpy and irritable and just, we don't want to be that old. We just don't. But we don't know how to get out of it. And here you gave us some wonderful tips. Elka, thank you so much for that. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Bless you for all your work. I love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're trying to help the women on every level. I was going to just keep it to the five, the sleep, the movement, the food, where everybody's doing that. But you're like a frosting on our cake, and it just makes that cake so much better, right? So thank you, thank you, thank you. And those of you guys who are watching and listening, go get her books. Go get, well, at least one of the books, but for sure get the freebie links, because then you can start right away and get going and get that energy back, feel good about yourself, and follow the tips that Elke has given you and contact her. I mean, she's on the website, she's there as well. So, whatever it takes, ladies, we want you to live the best season of your life. Thank you so much, and we'll watch and see you on the next episode.